Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on 3 different movies that are coming out: Tales from the Apocalypse, The Surveyors. Let me start at the beginning of this one, and a cartoon animated movie called Scary Girl. And I just feel like all 3 of these trailers kind of fail in their own way, and it's there's just not enough here to get them on their own. So let's do all 3 of them at once. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 11, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. Free. First is Tales from the Apocalypse. It's an anthology movie. 5 different stories. Now you would think they'd all be about an apocalypse and the events that would happen after or directly after or years later. Doesn't appear to be the case. One of the stories, the girl's stranded on a planet all by herself. How is that an apocalypse story? It's a sci-fi story, but it's not an apocalypse story. It's a story about AI. Sure, that could be an apocalypse story. I think a separate story about space travel. I think there's one that is looks apocalyptic, like post-apocalyptic, like you'd expect from Fallout. But the rest are kind of not. And I don't know. There's no stars in it. There doesn't appear to be any standout actors. I think if you're going to do an anthology movie like this, you need to have at least a theme. Like Creepshow, the great thing about Creepshow was, or not Creepshow, it was Cat's Eye. Cat's Eye, all the stories tied in together, right? It all ended up with the cat. Here, it's just kind of all over the place, and there's nothing, and not even the title ties them in. So I can't do a 3-act structure on this because they're 5 separate stories from 5 thrilling stories from a near future to save mankind. It's not what to me, that's not what an apocalypse story is. An apocalypse story is it's already too late to save mankind. Apocalypse doesn't mean sci-fi, and that appears to be the confusion here. Next up is something called The Surveyors. So it's about a guy, and this is a little more in my wheelhouse. It's about a guy who somehow, I don't know, he's running out of money and he signs on to do a job. I guess it includes killing people. It's never really made quite clear. But then he didn't have a problem with it at first, but now he has a problem and he signed a contract. I'm not sure. It doesn't make it clear. And again, it's kind of a failure of a movie. So basically, I think it turns into the sort of a hitman with who turns against the organization, but it's not really clear. You got kind of a clean-cut, nondescript actor as the lead, June 27th. The action doesn't look particularly great. There's nothing about it that separates it from other movies of this ilk. And even The Surveyors, again, seems to be the wrong title. When you survey, you just kind of watch, right? You survey the land. You're examining the land. When they say getting the lay of the land, it means checking out the situation. Doesn't necessarily mean killing people, but that seems to be the implication here. But again, it's just not clear. So first act, he's doing the job. I guess he's supposed to kill someone and then decides not to do it for some reason because he's got morals all of a sudden. Says no, and then they're all after him because he broke his contract. And they spend most of the second act trying to kill him or stop him, and then the third act he turns the tables and kills them, I guess. See what it says. Kyle Baxter receives a survey in the mail asking for his input on a series of questionnaires in exchange for a couple of $100. He agrees, but soon finds out that he signed up for more than he anticipated. Okay, so he's an accidental hitman. The Surveyors. Okay, so the Surveyors are the guys who ask the question. So for a couple of $100, he's got to do all this stuff, or they're gonna what? Kill him? I mean, I guess. I mean, for a movie, it's not possible in real life, but it's movie possible, I guess. But do you really want to go? I mean, there are plenty of guys that kill you for $100 in this world. You really need to go to a guy and recruit him sort of forcibly to do it? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So first act, he fills out the survey. His second act, end of the first act, he discovers he has to do all these horrible things now because he signed the document for a few $100. Like, he could give back the money, I guess. What are they going to do? Sue him? If they're going to kill him, don't they have to get other guys to kill him? Why don't they just, use those guys to kill people if that's what you need? Anyhow, the second act, he tries to figure out who the Surveyors are, and he fights his way up the chain until he finds them and, I guess, kills them. June 27th. And then finally is Scary Girl. And this is another movie. It just seems to be a mishmash of a bunch of cartoon movies. Kind of reminds me of Addams Family mixed with Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. So there's this girl, and she lives on an island with her dad. She has one tentacle. She's known as Scary Girl. I guess she lost an eye. Looks like her mouth is partially sewn shut. Like, who designed this thing? And her dad is a squid octopus guy. And they live on an island, and they're so happy, and they have magical powers that can make plants come back to life. But her powers are failing. For some reason, she has an earring with a skull. It doesn't really seem like... Scary Girl doesn't make any sense. It just... the title doesn't make any sense. Maybe that's what I should call this. 3 movies with titles that make no sense to me. So the bad guy is some guy who's, I don't know, he's draining the life out of other squid-like creatures, and he seems to be the only human in the movie. And, of course, he's a evil white male. Who made this thing? And then he kidnaps the father from the producers of the Academy Award-winning The Lost Thing. And kidnaps the father, and then Scary Girl has to go with her friends to save her father. But, there's nothing to anchor this world in anything I could see that makes any kind of sense. Just seems to be so off the rails, crazy and weird. I don't know where the ground is. I don't know who is this for. Who can connect with Scary Girl? I don't know. Doesn't seem like a movie that would connect with anybody. And once again, bunch of names. Sam Neill's in it. Yeah, that's the only name I recognize. Gillian Nugent, maybe. That sounds familiar. I'm not so sure why you need famous actors. I guess Sam Neill is the bad guy. I don't know. But this one, the 3-act structure, she has to find herself. It's coming of age metaphor. She has to find herself, save her dad, and prove herself. I'm good, Dad, or I'm just as good as you, Dad, kind of thing. Not that she's mad at her dad. Now, let's see. We got some credits here. Directed by Tanya Vincent. Oh, no, wait. Co-directed by Tanya Vincent. Directed by Ricard Cuso. Who wrote it? Created by Nathan Jervicius. Hard to read these names. Written by Craig Bahana, Matt Everett, and Les Turner. Polly Watkins and Castian O'Carroll. One, two, three, four, five people to write this movie. No wonder it's so got so many elements in it. That's too many elements, in my opinion. Way too many elements. No idea what's going on. The designs are completely out of control. When I first saw her image, I thought, "Oh, did the Squid Man build a daughter out of dead body parts or something? Why is she called Scary Girl? It doesn't make any sense." Like, this is like you're doing a cartoon in which you just assume children will like it because the characters are so crazy, and I don't see them connecting with any of these characters. You can say, well, it's his daughter. Yeah, but she's got one tentacle, one eye. The design is weird. Like, how? Oh, because she has a relationship with her father, and it's odd and weird, and she needs to prove herself. Like, I guess, I mean, it's kind of a universal thing, maybe, but it would be a little more universal if Scary Girl had, I don't know, something rooted in reality that people could, like, if she was human. I mean, she's not even human, so I think she's like a squid person of some kind. How do squid people even reproduce? It's just, and then she has her friends have all different designs, like a rabbit dude and another guy, and she's got all these crazy animal people around her. Why is there a human here? I just don't get this movie. I don't get any of these movies. Not really. I mean, the Surveyors would be the closest thing to something I watch. Out of the three of them, I guess I'd watch that because it's a crime movie. This, obviously, I'm too old for, but I don't even know what it's about. It's just first act. She's trying to come of age, and her father doesn't really, I don't know, doesn't really help her. I don't know. He seems like nice in the trailer, but then some evil guy kidnaps her father, and she spends the second act trying to save him in some sort of epic adventure. Third act, she saves him, I guess, and then proves herself as half squid girl. What is she? I don't understand any of these movies. Look, it's nice you hired a producer from the Academy Award winning The Lost Thing. I don't know what that is, but just seems like there's just too many elements in this thing. Kids don't automatically sign on to a movie just because there are crazy characters in it. I think the problem with all three of these trailers is there's probably problems within these movies. Now, there may be not. There's a chance not. There's a chance it's just a terrible trailer. However, I think if the story is clear, then you can clearly kind of not give away the story, but tell us what the movie's about. Like if the apocalypse movie had a theme, and the theme was 5 stories from the apocalypse, you could sign on to that and kind of understand it. Not tales from the apocalypse and then they're kind of not all from the apocalypse. Like to that end, I think that movie should have been called like Sci-Fi Tales of Terror or something. For the Surveyors, maybe the title works, but ultimately I think the problem with the trailer is I don't think most people are going to buy a guy who becomes a hitman because he filled out the wrong form for a couple of $100. And for this movie, like I don't even understand it really. It just seems like a bunch of elements thrown together. So you've got these stories that they don't have, in my view, a clear artistic vision of something. At least not in the trailer. If they did, I think the trailers would be more on point because it would be more obvious what the hell happens. Now, maybe in the Surveyors, there's a big surprise and they're trying to hide it. Same thing with the other 2 movies, maybe. I mean, the anthology, probably not, but maybe with the kids movie. But yeah, when her world is threatened by a loss of sunlight. The young girl must overcome her fears and journey to a fantastic city to save her father from a mysterious scientist and prevent the destruction of her planet. Okay, that clears it up a little bit, but man, that doesn't come across on this trailer at all. And why does kidnapping squid men somehow steal the sun? I don't get that. Or save the sun or whatever. I don't know. These movies confuse me, but they're coming out and they made trailers for them. That's all I could tell you is I don't know. I don't know who these movies are for. I mean, guess just more content for the pile. And that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more base takes. We got base takes we can't put on YouTube, especially Joan. Thanks for tuning in. Check me out. Oh, gosh. Click the link. There's too many to explain. We'll see you.